It's becoming increasingly clear that the only goal that Donald Trump and Steve Bannon and the entire Republican-controlled Senate and House, the only goal that they have in mind at this point is to destroy the United States of America. Now, that's a pretty bold statement, I agree. But when you look at the facts, you cannot logically come to any other conclusion other than the fact that these Republicans absolutely hate the United States. Here's a good example. Earlier this morning, I read a story that said that President Trump is considering cutting the budget for the NOAA hurricane tracking satellites. He wants to reduce the amount of money that we spend to track hurricanes during the hurricane season here in the United States. Now, I live in a coastal town that has been hit by several hurricanes during my lifetime, the worst of which, Hurricane Ivan back in 2004, completely decimated this area. A year after that, Hurricane Katrina, a couple hundred miles down the road from me, decimated the city of New Orleans. We got Category 1 winds here where I'm standing as well. Wiped out a good portion of the entire Gulf Coast. So what's going to happen to those of us living along the Gulf Coast, living along the East Coast, right here in Hurricane Alley, when Donald Trump decides to cut that budget and reduce the amount of time that these organizations spend tracking storms and helping to better predict where they're going to land? How many people are going to die as a result of this? On top of that, another story out this morning, Donald Trump wants to cut the funding for the TSA, airport security, and for the United States Coast Guard in order to help pay for his budget wall, divert funds from those two groups that actually do keep American citizens safe from real threats. He wants to divert their money to go deal with his imaginary threat along that Mexican-US border. How insane can you be? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there were any hijackers on 9/11 that entered the United States by becoming a Mexican citizen and then illegally crossing the border. This is insanity, folks. He wants to cut airport security. Look, I know everybody doesn't like the long airport lines. The TSA doesn't even catch everything when they're going through drills. They're not perfect, but it's obviously a hell of a lot better than the system we had in place before 9/11. So yeah, it sucks to wait in these long lines. People have missed flights. But don't you feel slightly safer? Wouldn't you feel better knowing that the TSA was there instead of a friggin' border wall? Wouldn't you feel better knowing that we had the Coast Guard out there protecting us rather than a border wall? Then you go back to the domestic things he's trying to do here, like cut the funding for the EPA. Donald Trump said earlier this week that he wants to zero out all EPA programs, which means get rid of them. There's a piece of legislation in the U.S. House of Representatives brought by, unfortunately, my representative, Matt Gaetz, to completely abolish the EPA. Furthermore, there's legislation in the House of Representatives to abolish the Department of Education. These are not the actions of a party that loves this country. These are the actions of crazy people who want to destroy this country. So you can go out there and defend Donald Trump and the Republican Party all you want, but every policy that they have come up with in the last 3 months will help destroy this country. Whether it's our clean air, our clean water, our national security, our ability to predict where hurricanes are going to fall, everything they're doing in an attempt to destroy this country.